Keep making goals, and welcome to episode 52 of the Quiet Man series. If you've been following me through this series, I'm going to hark back to some of the earlier episodes, specifically chapter 3 and chapter 10. Now, in chapter 10, this intrepid traveller was living in the States. And if you remember, there was a period in my life when I was selling vacuum cleaners door to door in North Dakota in the winter. I remember knocking on the door of this house in Grafton in North Dakota, and I sweet talked my way in to do a vacuum demonstration, but I didn't sell the guy on a vacuum, but he sold me on getting out. Because remember, sales are a two-way street. Either you sell them something or they sell you on something. But I left with a little pamphlet. And it was a pamphlet entitled The Common Denominator of Success by a chap called Albert Gray. And in that chapter 10, I talk about knocking on this door in Red Lake Falls and getting kicked out of town by the local sheriff and kind of breaking down in the car and going, oh my God, what am I doing? My world's turned to shite. Oh, woe is me, blah, 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 blah. And then I saw the pamphlet out the corner of my eye and I started reading it. And what hit me right between the eyes was this immortal line from Albert Gray's essay, successful people do the things that failures don't like to do. Think about that. Successful people do the things that failures don't like to do. And what don't failures like to do? They probably don't like to invest their time in the right things. They probably don't like getting up early in the morning. They probably don't like exerting their will. They probably don't like taking responsibility. They probably don't like creating things. They probably like to go with the flow instead of swimming against the flow. They probably don't like putting the energy in. They probably don't like doing the work required. And if you start to think about the themes that have been running through all these episodes, the big core theme is one of self-responsibility and doing the things that you need to do to be successful. So, this episode is entitled Keep Making Goals, and it harks back to that episode 10. One of the things I learned in all my years of being a salesman, of being a consultant, of being a trainer, of being a businessman, is the importance of keeping those goals on a daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. And really, the art of selling is persuading people in a gentle way to make a decision to go with you. Sometimes, though, you get a bit of luck and somebody calls you up. In other words, they're a buyer looking for your services. And in 2022, I had a huge piece of luck. Now, Tony Jacklin said, the harder I work, the luckier I get. The piece of luck had come about because I'd done something else. I was sending mail shots out, I was sending email campaigns out, and somebody liked what I said and called me up. And what they wanted to do, they wanted to hire me to do a big keynote at Central Hall Westminster. Now, I don't know if you've ever been there, but Central Hall Westminster, the Great Hall, is one of the grandest spaces you can imagine. And I was invited to give a keynote from the stage there to this huge auditorium. And it was magical. I felt like I'd finally arrived. It was a big corporate gig, and I was there to tell them about the importance of perfect teams and to get them motivated to start communicating in a better way. But my favourite bit, just like those 1,000 bankers in one of the previous chapters, I got them all to do the Grand Old Duke of York. Now we're coming to the end of this story. It's 2022 and it's chapter 52, and chapter 3, right back at the beginning, was the beginning of my life journey. And it was when I signed up to join the Merchant Navy. I took a cadetship with the Royal Fleet Auxiliary. And my first year was spent in this grand country mansion outside Southampton called Town Hill Park House. I think it's now a private school. And I met all these other cadets. We were all between the ages of 16 and 18. Well, in 2022, we had our 50th anniversary. 50th anniversary. And my wife said, there was about 17 of us, she said it was like being with a bunch of 68-year-old teenagers, which I took as a terrific compliment. But one of the chaps that was there was Manx. He's from the Isle of Man. And I was a great friend of his when we were cadets. And he had a tremendous love of motorbikes coming from the Isle of Man. And he sowed the seed for something. Now remember, this episode is Keep Making Goals. You will know that one of the themes of these episodes is me and my love of walking. Well, Manx told me about a walk on the Isle of Man called the Parish Walk. And she goes all the way around the Isle of Man, visiting all the different parishes. It's 85 miles long, but there is a cut-off in Peel where Manx lives at 33 miles. He told me the time that he did it in, and I was absolutely gobsmacked because I've been walking all these years. He could do the 32.5 miles to Peel in under 8 hours. That's over 4 minutes a mile pace. I started thinking about it. Got on the phone to him one day and I said, I'd like to come over and do that with you. And he said, sure. I started training for it. And the following summer, I went to the Isle of Man and I managed to accomplish the 32.5 miles in 8.5 hours, which I thought was absolutely terrific. But my goal? To do the whole thing, 85 miles. And that's me at 70 years of age saying this. Keep making goals. Because if you keep on making goals, you have something to focus on. And you have something to focus on, it gets you out of bed in the morning and it keeps you motivated and it keeps you young and it keeps you alive. There you go. Words of wisdom for all the young folk that I hope are tuning in and listening and watching this series. Keep making goals. If you've liked this episode, give it a thumbs up. Please comment on it. Please share it. And I'll see you tomorrow for the penultimate episode, 53. Thank you very much.